Hi, you guys. It is so exciting to bring you this masterclass. My name is Gloria Mayfield Banks, Dr. Gloria Mayfield Banks, and I have a show for you today. And you know how we talk about it all day long. Super bad. All day long. Developing the courage, building your confidence so that you can expand your choices. I am so in love with the topic. And I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today because I talked to her earlier. And so she asked me about my audience. I said, you know what? My audience is full of people who are aspiring to be phenomenal entrepreneurs, aspiring to blow it out of the water, aspiring to have quantum leaps. Some of them are full-time entrepreneurs. Some of them are entrepreneurs with full-time jobs. So we are cramming it in. You know, one of the things we do, Geeta, is we cram life into the crevices of our lives. And so I want to get right into it. I want to remind you guys over and over and over again, if you care, share. You know how much I love it when you tell me that you've shared the broadcast. You know I love to go back and read your comments for sure. And you know I absolutely love it when you leave some comments or hit the replay. If you're listening to the replay, you hit hashtag replay so we can see. So let me introduce you to Geeta because I'm so excited. Listen to this title. I love this. Impact with influence. Did I say it right? Impact with influence. Yes.
Indeed.
And what I loved when I got this accolade from her, listen to the first accolade, that she had her first paying gig at 12 years old. And you know what I say? You got to get paid. You've got to get paid. And you started doing that at 12 years old. That's awesome. She's been in this business for 25 years, become an expert. In other words, she's become super bad all day long, producing print and TV and new media outlets for other people so that they could platform themselves. And I love this, Geeta, because it goes along with everybody's got a story. And you help them craft their story. So it's really exciting. She loves long distance running. So I can't wait to hear about that. And you guys, this is the one. This is so funny. She likes to take cold showers in the winter. So I just called my furnace guy because for some reason, everything in my house is breaking right now. So we're waiting for the furnace guy to come. But you like to take cold showers in
a Canadian winter. Oh, that's no joke.
You guys agree to introduce yourself. I know they want to know more about you.
Hi. So my name is Geeta Nadkarni, and I, as Gloria said, I got my first paid writing gig when I was 12. That's a whole long story, but it actually came out of failure because when I was 10, I almost flunked English language. And my dad, who was a professional writer himself, was horrified that anyone carrying his DNA could flunk English language. So he basically sat us down and made us write 3 essays a week or we couldn't go out to play. And it was from that failure, from basically falling on my face and sucking, that I discovered my gift, that I discovered what it is that I was born to do. I am born to tell stories. I am born to use stories to nourish purpose, both for myself and for those I serve.
Mm-hmm. That is so powerful. A couple things I just want to grab with them really quickly. Because you know that as you mentor a lot of people, in the midst of a failure, we think our life is falling apart and will never be able to come back from it. However, you've just pointed once again about the tremendous gifts that come from failure. You also said something like, I love, which is about the stories. But what I also love is it doesn't matter who causes you to focus on where you're good. Your father brought it out in you. Mm-hmm. That's a master plan. Go ahead, Geeta. I'm very excited about that.
So what I'm a huge fan of is, and what I've grown more and more into, because, you know, there's a lot of ladies on this call, right? I mean, I'm sure there's some gentlemen or people of every gender. There's no discrimination here. Yeah. But one of the things that I've realized is that the definition of leadership, or at least the way that I used to perceive it, was too narrow. It was extremely, for lack of a better word, testosterone. It was this like raw hustle, set the impossible goal, and then just go for it. And you know, when you tell the story of how I got my first writing gig at 12 or how I take cold showers in the winter, it feeds into this myth. And I want to be super transparent and debunk that myth for you right now. It's not that I am a badder badass than any of you. It's not that at all. I'll tell you what I am. If there is anything that I am more than anybody else on this call, it is that I'm able to come to the process with more playfulness and curiosity. And this is something that I have learned. This is a learned skill because this is not how I used to operate back in the day. Back in the day, I used to do what everybody else tells you to do, which is set the impossible goal and then just kind of white knuckle it until you get there. And it is effective. It does work for the most part. The problem with doing it that way is, first of all, you feel like crap for most of the time because most of the time you spend not at your goal, right? Like you're in that gap.
Right.
And then the second, right? Yeah. And then the second you get to the goal, you're like, yay, I made it. And then it's done. And then you set a new goal. And then again, you're in that gap. And so you spend most of your life feeling like crap. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way.
You have to dig in deep with us on the process. You know, I talk about that all the time. You got to love the process. If you don't love the process, you will never love the journey to better. So talk a little bit about the process, because it doesn't matter what your particular career is, what your industry is. It doesn't matter about that. What matters most is how you master your process.
Agreed. So the way that I look at it is everything, successes, failures, and whatever the gray area in between, everything is here to serve me. I truly believe this. Truly believe this. And this is true for everybody. It's not just me. Your failures, your successes, everything that the argument you had with your spouse, the fact that your kid is dark and smack, like all of that is here to clarify your intention, is here to help you, to hold up a mirror to you to say, do you believe this?
Yeah.
Is this who you are? Do you, where are you going with this? What are you going to do with this information? And that is an opportunity. All obstacles are opportunities. And once it only took me like almost 39 years to get here, but I'm here now. And so now when something happens, I immediately think, oh, so I can't lose, because either I'm going to fall on my face dramatically and completely screw myself, in which case it's going to be an amazing story that I'm going to get up on stage one day and tell, right? The bigger the fall, the better the story.
Exactly.
And that story is going to be a beacon of light to somebody else who absolutely needed to hear that story in that moment.
Right.
And so again, if there's a dramatic fall happening, I'm like, yay, I'm going to take notes. Yes. And then the other thing is, if there is success, or if it's something more like a tech glitch or something really annoying, but like that grinding kind of annoying, that's most of what slows us down. It's that resistance. It's not like a dramatic failure usually that takes us out of the game. It's the grind. And this is why I'm so passionate about endurance running, because I feel, to me, all of life is a running metaphor in so many ways. I really connect to myself in a way that doesn't feel accessible to me when I'm not running. Yeah. And what I've realized is that if you can find a way to be playful with the grind, if you can find a way to be curious and not run away from what it brings up, because that's the truth of the matter. I recently signed up for an endurance event. This is in 2018, earlier this year.
Uh-huh.
And I was basically supposed to climb this mountain. It was a private mountain that they rented for the event. You climb it 13 times, and it's called Everesting. And that's the altitude and mileage equivalent of Everest.
Wow.
And I had 24 hours to do it in.
Wow.
Exactly. And I was on my feet the whole time. And here's the thing. At ascent number 8, I was beginning to freak out. That's when the breakdown happened. And by the way, there's almost always a breakdown right before the breakthrough. So ascent number 8 was my breakdown.
Right.
I was mad. I was like, the hell with you. I'm not going to swear here, but oh man, there was some swearing on that mountain. Let me tell you, I've been hiking through the night. It was almost dawn. I was exhausted. I wanted to take an Uber home. I wanted to be in a king size bed with all the pillows. Like I was like, why am I on this horrendous mountain?
Right.
Why? And you know what it was? I was so mad. I was not mad. It seemed like I was mad at the mountain. It seemed like I was mad at the organizers. I was mad at myself because I wanted it so bad, because I really, really wanted that summit. Yeah. And I didn't finish the 13. I only did 10. And the reason I did 10 is because I screwed myself and I took myself out of the game, because I decided to break up with the finish line before it broke my heart.
Right.
And so I never attempted.
Oh, that is.
I would have had the time. I would have had the time, but I didn't even try, because by not trying, I was like, no, I reject you.
Yes. Yes.
And I learned a very, very important lesson from that experience. So I don't regret the experience. I don't regret the experience. I lost, but I don't regret the experience, because I'm like, I saw my toxic pattern that I have carried with me through most of my adult life.
Yeah.
And in that moment of failure, I had the opportunity to rewrite it. So now I went and signed up for a 100-mile race. I have never run more than 19 miles in my life, but it's a 100-mile race at altitude. It's at 10,000 feet, and I live at sea level. So I mean, whatever.
Right.
I have about just shy of 2 years to get there. I have a running coach. I have a plan. I have all these marathons I've signed up for in 2019. But here's the deal. I'm going to do this different.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is not to yes, I would like to finish that race on the day, on my first try, but that's not actually the goal. Here's my goal. My goal is to have so much fun in discovering myself. To run 100 miles,
Right.
You're going to have to run for 28 hours. 28 is the good time, right? It's actually 36 hours. You might have to run for 36 hours straight. The things that I'm going to discover in that place, that's what I'm in it for. So it might take me multiple attempts. It might take me years to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care.
Right.
And that's the difference.
You know the benefits that are going to come along the way. You said so many things, and I think this place, what I call them, the Glow Nation, they totally can get with what you said was, it's not just in the finish line.
No.
There's so much to go. And I loved the fact that you said the bigger the fall, the better the story. And it's something we've heard often, but we get caught up in taking ourselves away from our plateau of like this, when we take ourselves away from that platform of bouncing off to something greater, because we get so disturbed with the fall that we can't find the joy in it. And when you said, I divorced myself from the finish line before I got there, I happen to know many people that are listening to this are like, me too. I've done it too. I've done it too. I've done it.
Stupidest thing in the world. And I call that overachiever math, right? Overachiever math is the only kind of math where somehow 12 is less than 10. So there was a medal associated with 10 cents, and then the next medal that was achievable was 13. So I didn't attempt 11 and 12 because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do 13 in this time limit. Right. So I'm not even going to try for 11 and 12.
Right.
And I'm like, when did 12 become less than 10? When?
Right.
Only in that moment.
Right.
Only when I bought that story. Only when I broke up with that finish line, because I wanted to break up with it before it broke my heart.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that is so powerful. I wanted to break up with it before it broke my heart. And the assumption that I was going to break your heart. The assumption.
Yes. 100%. I love that you brought that up, because my 10th ascent.
Yes.
Was my fastest, which makes no sense. I had been on my feet for 24 hours straight. It makes no sense that I had the energy in me to run part of that.
Right.
It's a 30-degree angle for 2.3 miles. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that's exactly what happened.
This is what I want to say. And I want you to back me up if you believe this. People who are super bad all day long are not just super bad in one arena. They are super bad in several arenas. They are also not super bad in all arenas. So they know where they play and they know where they shouldn't play. And many times we get tripped up because we're so good in some place, we think we're going to be good in all places. And where we're not that great in the other places, we start to beat ourselves up and we lose focus on where we are good in the right places.
And here's what I'm going to nuance my understanding of what you're talking about, which is that, again, it comes back to playfulness, right? So I'll tell you what it was, because I came back and, oh boy, did I cry and whine and complain. Yeah. My poor husband, like, he had to put up with all of this crap. And then I signed up for a marathon right after, and I was injured, and then I only ran the half, and then I whined and complained about that too. So believe me, I am far from perfect.
Yeah.
However, what this was my subconscious pattern. And, when we coach clients, we actually have mindset coaches and hypnotherapists on our staff to help you get to the root of your pattern, because our intention is to use your business as a vehicle to change your life. You're here for spiritual growth. Everything, your parenting, your relationships, your business, your money, everything is here to serve you to evolve as a human being. And this was my opportunity. I just had a lot of failures that were absolutely fantastic in 2018 that have really skyrocketed my evolution. And what I realized was, and coming back to your point, is I had a story that if I wasn't somehow the kind of badass that could finish that race, or finish either of the two races, the marathon or Everesting, then that said something about me. Then I was not able to trust myself. That because this is again overachiever math.
Right.
Self-trust somehow is about some external metric, right? Self-trust comes from the outside. Obviously, that's not true. And what was really interesting is that when I was running that marathon injured, a large part of me wanted to get to that finish come hell or high water.
Right.
And a small, wise voice, the small, wise voice that is birthed from true self-trust, said to me, listen, you are not defined by that or any other finish line. Your worth is not decided by some medal or some time or some personal best record or somebody else's opinion of you.
Right.
Why are you running? And that's the truth of the matter. Like, that's what it all came down to. Why are you running? Why did you sign up for this race? And the truth was, it's because I freaking love running. But if I had gone all the way to that finish line, I might have injured myself to the point where I would have taken myself out completely from the game for 6 months to recover from that injury. Instead, I was like, let me stop and live to fight another day.
Right.
And let me do the thing that I love, which is to run every day. Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I totally see that. One of the things that you said, when we talk about being super bad all day long, we talk about taking a step in the bad direction. It's a play on words. Take a step in the bad direction. What I have heard from you over and over and over again is things that you've done to shift the way you have a look at it. It's like your perspective on it. What's different? The process, the fall, the playfulness, the curiosity, the fact that I am not running necessarily to finish. I'm running because I love to run. And sometimes we lose sight of what we love to do because we're so focused on
the metric.
Right.
Yes. So now when I set my intention, so I meditate every morning and we do mindfulness. This is something we teach our clients. When I set my intention in the morning, it used to be back in the day that I would set my intentions in terms of a metric, a sales goal, a revenue item, a number, something like that. Now, when I have a call or when I have a meeting or a deal or whatever it is, I say, let me show up and let me feel super connected. Let me play from a place of deep self-trust, because, you think the 100-mile race is crazy. I have a completely other ultra that I have signed myself up for. Or rather, I feel like the universe signed me up for this one. I kind of didn't want the job, but then it kind of happened to me. I am building what I believe will be a $1 billion company, which combines personal development with physical products. So every item of apparel that you buy, every piece of jewelry, every physical product that you buy from us has a journey, has a personal development journey attached to it. There'll be an app and there's a program that's going to help you use that product to connect to your inner sense of possibility.
Okay.
I've never done physical products before. I've never done e-com. I've never done any of this. So in terms of building $1 billion business, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I think you got the wrong number. Like, sorry, universe. Like, I have small children. Like, I already run another company. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know how to do this. Right. I tried to kill the idea and it would not go away. And so I decided to surrender to it. Right. But here's the difference.
Okay.
My goal is not to build $1 billion company that does personal development and physical products. My goal is to have so much fun trying to build a personal development company that's $1 billion company. that the company builds itself, because I attract so many people who are on board, whose mission and movement this is also. It is the difference between being a warrior, which I don't believe in being, and being a mother.
Being a mother.
Yes, because when I birth, I have 2 kids, and when I birth them, my job is to be the channel through which they come into this world.
Okay.
My job is to mold them. My job is to nurture them.
Right.
But they are their own magical creatures.
Right.
It's a different relationship.
Yes. Very different relationship. Very different relationship. Okay, now this is so good because I want you to tell people how to find you. When we talked earlier, I loved what you said in here when you said, my job and all that I do is to serve. And I've been in sales for over 30 years. And one of the reasons I've always reached the top position, not towards the top, not close to the top, the reason I believe I've always reached the top is because I've been committed to serving who's right in front of me. It may be with the product, it might be with my energy, it might be with the method, it might be with the education, it might be with the explanation, but there's something there to serve. So tell them how to follow you, find you, tell them all about you, Geeta.
So I'm looking to build, the company that I'm trying to build is called Be More Possible. And that everything that I do is to help you connect with your internal sense of possibility, because you already have the answers to everything that you want. It's out there looking for you. Yeah. So if you want to follow the journey and be a part of it, which I would love because I'm looking for my posse, find me on Instagram. I do a live every single day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and I'm basically sharing what it's like while I'm doing it, not in retrospect. Okay. But the everyday, day-to-day falls, successes, all of that. 9:30 a.m. Eastern, I'm live with Geeta. That's Geeta with 2 E's, Geeta. Right. I'm also on Facebook, Geeta Nadkarni. We could probably put the link somewhere up here. Yeah. And so that way I would love, and stop by and say hi. That would be so fun. Yeah. And if something resonated for you, please put that in the comments, because I would love to go back and run through the comments and see what really resonated for you, because that will give me a sense and a direction to build towards, because that's what I want. This is all about us together as a collective, because I believe in the collective consciousness. So thank you for letting me be a part of this. This is so fun.
This has been very, very powerful, very, very shifting. I cannot wait for the comments. You guys, don't forget, this is a blessing to her, a blessing to you, a blessing to us all. If you care, share it, because someone is going to be deeply touched by this for sure. Now, I always end this with everybody taking a step in a bad direction. So here's my request. I want you to think about a failure that you had. She started out that way. What is one of the failures that you had that turned out to be a huge blessing for you? I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to affirm it. I want you to understand it. I want you to study it. I want you to be aware of that process. Why? Because life happens, and there will be more failures coming at you. And because you're listening to this masterclass, that means you are extremely focused on serving others, on impacting others, on increasing your income, which means you're clearly there to make a difference for someone else. In doing so, you're going to run into other people who are going to have a conversation with you about their failures. And you're going to be able to say, you know what? If you look at it a different way, on my path to being super bad all day long, what I learned when I looked at my failure, when I took a step in a bad direction and I saw the reward, that was excellent. That was excellent. And I am absolutely sure that when we look at that for our own lives, we will see how that one of the many things you talked about will help us get on that path to being super bad all day long. Think about what is going to happen for all of us in 2019 when we realize that everything we thought was a failure was actually a gift. Thank you so much, Geeta. I really appreciate it. You were amazing. You were amazing. And I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, leave comments, #replay if you listen to the replay. She and I both are going to go back and look at these comments. So she asked, what did you learn? I can't wait to see it. Talk to you guys soon. Love you lots. It's the master.
Bye.
at Superbad all day long. Bye-bye.